Welcome to another episode of Use Your Words Podcast. My name is Paul, and today we're going to be talking about identity. Where do you find your identity? How do you define your identity? And how do you show your identity to others? Also, sometimes do you put your identity in things that are maybe a little temperamental, temporal, and temporary? Welcome to Use Your Words Podcast, where we believe in intelligently spoken conversations. I will admit, like I said, I can talk, or not, yeah, or not. More often than not, I cannot talk properly, and that is a rare occasion where I'm able to properly enunciate and pronounce my words, and in rare fashion form. That is very short-lived. So, anyways, welcome to another episode of Use Your Words Podcast, where I have Mr. Johnson, just turned 26 years old.
Ew. Yay.
It's all right, sir. It's all right. I turned 38, so it's not like I'm getting any younger myself. Only 12 years older. Yeah,
still
I know.
Young.
Sure, let's go with that. Let's go with that. Anyways, today I had an idea for a conversation on identity. And where this came up from, let me tell you where this came up from recently. Recently, I sent over to Aaron and Josh a Twitter account which was called Liberals of TikTok. And it's a TikTok account, apparently, that makes fun on Twitter. So it's not a TikTok account, it's a Twitter account, excuse me. It's a Twitter account that makes fun of people doing very crazy things, things that you would normally not see. And some of these get tagged with, is this a cult? And there's a reason why for that. But this particular video and photo series I sent over to shows a guy who apparently loves the COVID-19 vaccine so much that he made a dress for it. So on his head, he has like a syringe, that you would get the shot from. Not a syringe, whatever, whatever would hold the vaccination liquid to get, with the needle. That's on his head. He has a little clutch that says Fauci on it. And his dress wasn't like your traditional flowing gown material. It was vaccination cards. And, Aaron immediately goes, oh, I think that'll fit.
My dream.
But what that got me thinking about was that these people are throwing their identity in the fact that they're vaccinated or not vaccinated. They're having this culture shift of trying to filter people into the vaccinated and not vaccinated. You're trying to make this part of your identity. Instead of, your identity being these things that maybe things you can't control, because I can't control the fact that I was born with the genes that I was born with. I can't control the fact that, naturally, what's that look in your face for?
You didn't get to customize your character as you were born?
No, I did not get a Sims interface as I was being conceived. That didn't occur. So I don't get to change the fact that I was born male. I don't get to change that fact. I don't get to change the fact that my bone density or all that's slightly different. Now, obviously, you could do surgery to kind of like, I want to shape down my bones and make them lighter. Yeah, but you can't control some of that feature.
No, you can't.
But there are things that you can control, like do you get tattoos or not? Do you dye your hair or not? How short or long do you cut it? Do you grow a beard or do you go beardless?
Just let it go.
Do you go baby face? That sort of stuff. Do you go full redneck or do you not go full redneck? As I keep telling Aaron, every time I see him, he seems to get a little bit more and more redneck.
Oh, no.
It all started after he bought his newest vehicle.
Yeah. Good old truck. Yeah.
I keep expecting the next thing to see like a gun rack. And then I want to see on top of there, I want to see some like some antlers, some buck antlers on the front.
Gotta get some flags for the back.
And then like the smokestack tailpipes. I expect to see all of that on your truck soon to complete the transformation of you from Mr. Aaron Johnson into Redneck Johnson.
Oh no, that would be horrible.
Would it be horrible?
Well, I guess for me to do some of that, well, like the whole smokestack thing for that truck, I gotta get a truck with a real big old beefy engine. Yeah, I don't have that in my current truck. I just have the Eco.
That's okay. You'll survive. Could be worse. Could be an all electric truck. And, but people take pride in their identity of either things that they buy and wear, such as I'm looking at you right now. Yeah. You have your gun hat with on top
coffee
with is that your Black Rifle Coffee Company?
Yeah.
Hat? Okay. I couldn't tell.
Yeah. With what's on it that you see, you would not know.
No, because what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a black like baseball hat with American flag patch in the middle, and then a black gun, black rifle. Now, could I maybe guess the Black Rifle Coffee Company? Maybe, but I'm going to go more gun-loving patriot Southerner nut job.
Yep, exactly. Okay. I've had one person so far single me out for wearing it, knowing that it was a Black Rifle Coffee hat.
Okay, so they were probably a Black Rifle
they were
fan as well.
Yes.
That's why I don't drink coffee, but whatever. Yep. So I continued that, right? And then you continue down and you're like, oh, look, there's a third day miracle tour with an eagle with a gold chain around its neck.
That's not... Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is a gold chain holding drumsticks in one claw or talon, and a guitar with another talon. And you're like, okay, so this is giving off very Leonard Skinner-y Southern rock vibes here. Completing again that whole redneck aesthetic, complete with a big bushy beard and like the long flowing hair and back. Like I could just see you on a like you in a bar and be like, I just got in from a long day hunt.
Dang it. I'm setting myself up down
the only thing that's breaking this illusion is you're not wearing boots and blue jeans.
True. Yeah, that's the one thing I don't wear much of, nor will I ever really now. Because, I mean, at the moment, I don't have a motorcycle. If I get one again, I'll have to wear pants, but I don't like wearing pants.
Oh, there's
I like clothes. I don't like jeans.
No. Oh, okay. Whereas personally, I love jeans. I hate things like khakis and that.
Oh, yeah. I would rather wear jeans than khakis. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
They're way 100% more comfortable. But looking at you, like that's what I get as my my impression of identity. And my guess is you would go to a bar and ask for a big glass of whiskey.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know me well.
Even if I didn't know you, based on this aesthetic, from what I can see right here, I'd go, oh, he's a whiskey guy.
He's a whiskey guy.
He's a whiskey guy. Just like the same thing. You look at me, you see me, I'm wearing a polo and jeans and tennis shoes. You're like, oh, like middle-aged.
He's a cider boy. Just
well, not even the alcohol. Like, no. I'm not giving off, I don't think I'm giving off alcohol vibe, but it's more like, it's like white collar, middle-aged, whatever.
Techie guy.
Well, techie guy because it's a tattoo.
Well, and the stuff in front of you.
Well, no, pretend like I didn't have any equipment, just what you were wearing, what I was wearing,
Okay,
and like I have visible tattoos. No, you don't. I have visible tattoos, but I'm wearing a polo, and so it's like, oh, corporate America, middle-aged, tries to be slightly rebellious. Yeah, no, not really. Not even in the slightest. But notice, we judge people based on what they wear, what they identify with, just like when you used to be a biker boy, I identified you more as the biker person, and glad that biker's gone.
For now.
But, you see that, and it's just like the same people like who see me with my dog, they will immediately, because she's a cousin to a pit bull, they'll immediately go, oh, you're one of those people. And I'm like, what's one of those people? And apparently there's a whole category of pit bull lover people. And I'm like, do you think pit bull type dogs are just general? And there's that common misconception. Yeah. Now, to be fair, back in the day, they were bred for dog fighting. So I get where some of that misconception is, but I'll be honest, my dog is one of the nicest dogs in the world. You will drown in slobber before she bites you. And the thing is, people will go, that's not true. I'm like, oh, it very much is. Anyone who's been licked by her, you will drown in the slobber.
Yep, that and you'll get knocked out by a headbutt.
Oh, That's a lot less common now.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah. But these symbols that we identify with, it's almost like it's our calling card to show how popular, how in we are, how with it we are. And people will go to great depths to sell their property, sell their belongings to get money to buy whatever is it right now, whatever's in. Yeah. We'll go into great debts to buy the latest tech, the latest phone, because, oh my gosh, that phone is just the most popular phone. I just got to have it. I just got to have it. I don't care that that my previous one is only 3 days old. I just got to have the newest one.
It's already old now.
Because that better. TikToker over there said that this is the best phone, so therefore I must go get it. Exactly. So you have all that going on. So what we wear makes us, and whether we realize it or not, we subconsciously, and I'll admit this, we subconsciously kind of judge a person based on what they wear a little. If I see Aaron walk in and, like I said, in all this, all I need, like if he put a flannel on, I'd expect him to be like having a pack of chew in his mouth and a gun hidden on him somewhere. Yeah. And then a rifle on his back, just out in the public. I'd be like, yeah, that's rednecky enough. Okay. But if I saw him walking in a polo, I'd be like, where'd Prep Boy come from? Okay. Now, if I see Aaron walk in with wearing gold chains and everything, I'm like, okay, so now he's trying to be a poser, trying to be cool. Yeah. Although you might be able to pull that off.
I'll have to give it a try.
But you need like 5 million gold chains and like the gold rings, and you're going to have to get the gold plating on the teeth.
Then I'll get the grill. Oh, I came across a guy that had, this is like one of the first people I feel like in a long time that I've seen who's had a grill at the gas station. He was driving a sweet, it's just a pretty blue. And then I had the V8 nice big old engine in it. When he started, I was like, oh yeah. But as I was talking to him, he had a grill. I was like, wow. It's been a long time since I've seen someone with a grill. And I guess I never thought, I don't know. I am terrible at, to a point, judging people on their appearances is at least or making connections to stuff, I should.
Yeah.
I'm not smart in any of that. But I guess, I could see the whole flannel, rednecky, that, and then you can see like the hipster guys with their beanie hats, and which they can wear flannel.
So you're calling Tim Pool a hipster?
Yeah, yeah, sure. But so there are some of those very distinctive things. About people,
we always tend to judge people themselves a little bit, we tend to assign,
or at least get an idea for what someone might be into, or
right? Yeah, we kind of assign identity to them based upon the appearance that we see. And sometimes that is intentional. Like, again, that person from TikTok where they're wearing the COVID dress with the Fauci clutch and the...
was it Krispy Kreme donuts were in there or whatever, something like that, I thought. And the little like...
I didn't see what was inside.
I thought it was something...
It very well could have been. I didn't pay enough attention.
Okay.
And if it was, congrats. But I pulled it up. Yes, there are donuts of some sort in there.
Okay, because I thought, it had something to do with he got donuts or whatever because he got vaccinated. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's right. And he also wore blue medical gloves with his dress.
Yeah.
But like I said, sometimes we do assign that unintentionally, and sometimes we wear stuff intentionally to signal maybe who we align with. Now, obviously, sometimes it's very obvious, like COVID dress boy over there, or someone going around wearing like a Fauci in Fauci We Trust shirt, or a Trump 2020 shirt, or a Biden 2020 shirt, or a whatever shirt. If it says directly on there, that tells us real quickly kind of what to expect from that person and kind of what identity to kind of expect from them. But then you have now, in the time of COVID, of all things, masks becoming an identity statement.
Right. Yeah. Lovely.
So David Hogg 111 on Twitter, who was one of the students over at the Parkland shooting area, he recently said, I feel the need to continue wearing my mask outside even though I'm fully vaccinated, because the inconvenience of having to wear a mask is more than worth it to have people not think I'm a conservative. So immediately what this is now becoming is that the mask in and of itself is becoming a political statement on, do you align as a conservative or as a progressive? Do you align with, the quote unquote crazy conservatives who don't want to wear masks, and whatever side of the aisle you're on with that, CDC recently came out and said, hey, if you're fully vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask.
Yeah.
In most situations, were some situations that the CDC recommended still that masks be worn in that. But then you have people going, well, again, the people who just maybe a few weeks ago were, why aren't people following the science? Why aren't people trusting the science? Wear your mask, get the vaccine, and all that. And now they're going, no. I need to make a political statement.
Yeah.
I need to make a statement on where I align politically so people can know me, like me, and not be scared of me. I need to make a political statement so that X, Y, or Z. And all of a sudden they choose to make the mask that political statement. And that made me question a few things. It's like, why of all the things are we choosing to make that our political statement? Why all of a sudden is that masks are the things that you identify with conservatism? And then there was recently a news anchor who said, I think it was Rachel Maddow.
Yeah, that's what I was just pulling up, because I was thinking, it's like, with the whole thing, we have to rewire our brains on how we look at people without masks now and realize that there might not be a threat.
And that makes me kind of feel kind of sad for those people where they actually judge people if they're a threat or not based on what they're wearing.
Yeah.
If, again, I may judge, you look at you, Aaron, and go, oh, he is a redneck through and through, okay? But I'm not going to go, he's a redneck, therefore he's a threat. I don't care about that. In fact, making assumptions on people if they're a threat or not based on the fact of what their cultural background is. So redneck or gang, well, I wouldn't say gangster, more like urban type, because even if you're in the middle of the city, you're gang or not, you're all going to be dressing.
Yeah, similar. Yeah.
I say weird because culture is always changing what is the hip and cool thing to wear.
Right.
Yeah. Again, think of the 90s. Jenko jeans. You don't remember Jenko jeans? So Jenko jeans, this was like, oh geez Louise, late 90s, late 90s. They were jeans that had really wide flares at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I had a different name for that in my mind. For that look.
Like,
what was it was literally just in my head.
Don't know what it is, but anyways, when I say wide, it's like I would be able to fit an Aaron in each one of my legs.
Yeah,
if I wore it.
Super baggy.
It's like you're wearing a dress, but they're jeans.
Yeah.
And that was the popular style at the time, back in the late 90s. And it's just like, what? Okay. But, if you made assumptions based on people, based on what they wore, it's like, okay, I can make maybe some generalizations. Like, again, redneck, he's probably going to want whiskey. I'm not going to make the generalization of, oh, this person's going to be dangerous and he's bad. I'm not assigning morals to you based on what you wear.
On appearance. Yeah.
But yet it's okay for some people to say, oh, you're not wearing a mask, and therefore you must be a conservative and you are an evil person. Or in Rachel Maddow's case, where she says she has to rewire her brain not to perceive them as a threat. I'm sorry, even during the midst of COVID time, when it was at its worst and we still didn't know all the facts about it and everything, and things were still kind of in flux, everything was locked down. Even then, I wouldn't have gone, oh, they're just being evil and a threat because they're not wearing a mask. Okay, would I go, okay, maybe they're uninformed, maybe maybe they just want to be them? Cool, I can see that. But then to go, oh, they're a threat,
they're trying to hurt us.
911, I have a threat in my neighborhood.
There's an emergency. Someone's not wearing a mask.
Someone is outside swimming and not wearing a mask.
I will say, in what was it, bosses in Africa recently.
Okay.
And they said it's real bad there with the whole mask and no mask kind of thing. Like, there's a guy apparently just in a parking lot by himself, not wearing a mask, but then people from the store came out and said, you have to wear it. No, there wasn't anybody around him. If you're outside, you have a mask. That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're not like that.
Well, and some areas want you to be like that, to be honest.
This is true. This is very true. But I mean, to think that someone is a danger to society because they're non.
And I get it. because especially at the beginning when we didn't know how COVID spread, we didn't have any sort of shot to prevent things. We wanted to prevent those who maybe were immunocompromised or the elderly from getting. I get it that we wanted to prevent the spread, but I wouldn't call them a threat.
No.
Recently at a conference call I was on, they were talking about a place reopening, and there was, I've shared this before, where people were just yelling and screaming and calling the CEO and all that, all sorts of nasty names, because how dare they put their health at risk by allowing unvaccinated people back into a building? And I'm like, hold on, how are you going to know if you have unvaccinated people? Are you going to go and ask all of them? That sort of thing. And then B, what are you going to segregate them off into different areas of work just so you can feel safe? Are you going to make them wear different clothes or something like that? I don't know what they want out of that. But you start villainizing people based on various things. And I asked this question, and this is a question in all seriousness. How is that different than hating on anyone else for something that they can or can't do? How do I know, Mr. Johnson, that you're not getting vaccinated because maybe you have an allergy to what's in the shots? Maybe you have an allergy, maybe you're immunocompromised and you can't get the vaccine. Maybe, there's a number of valid situations on which a person, and obviously you have to talk with your doctor about the whole thing, about vaccine or not. That's a decision between you and your doctor. But there's legitimate reasons why some people cannot get vaccinated.
That's true.
How do I know that you don't have one, though? Especially, you're not going to be going around wearing a shirt. I'm immunocompromised, therefore I don't get a shot. Please wear a mask for my safety. If you wear that shirt, then I will know for sure what's happening.
Right.
But if you're not wearing that shirt, it's like, okay, cool. But at the same time, what can I look at you, unless you're wearing a COVID vaccine dress? What can I look at you wearing that tells me that you are or are not vaccinated?
Probably nothing.
Yeah.
Now, there's that. Then there's also, for those that are very outspoken as to why they won't get one, which, well, I'm trying to think of all the examples of stuff I've kind of heard.
Well, you've had the conspiracy theories of that's the mark of the beast, that it's has the chip in it from Bill Gates, that it's Bill Gates population control. You've heard those are some of the mainline popular ones that I've heard.
Yeah.
The legitimate ones I've heard are, hey, we don't know the full results of it yet.
Right.
It's still early in testing. Could it have side effects? Maybe. I think there was someone who made a comic that they're like, in 15 years, we're going to see TV advertisements. Did you get the COVID-19 vaccine and have the following symptoms?
Yeah.
And it's...
There's money for you.
And could it happen? Maybe. Don't know. We'll see.
Could. Yeah. So I guess, unless you're also very vocal about as to why you decide not to get the vaccine. There's no real reason for people to suggest. Well, and that's where I say one appearance could be a thing that would help someone come to a certain... I'm sure if someone looked at me, they'd be like, oh, they're probably someone that's not going to get the vaccine.
Well, they're going to look at you and be like, he's not wearing a mask. He's a conservative. He's not getting a vaccine.
Right. Yeah, right.
If you're in David Hogg's world, that's the logic. That's the logic that goes through the head.
Yeah.
Therefore, because you're not wearing a mask, which the CDC says you can do if you're fully vaccinated.
Yeah.
Because you're not wearing a mask, therefore you're a conservative. Therefore, you're not getting the vaccine. Yeah. What? Where does that logical link come from? Because honestly, I'm not seeing that logical link.
No, I can see how he's making that connection, but it's like if having that be the only option as to why someone's not wearing them, then no.
Okay, so you said you can see where he's making that connection.
As to if assuming that if you don't have a mask on, and this is where it goes, it could either depend on what you're wearing or your aesthetic.
Line up 10 people in white t-shirts and jeans and mask on or mask off.
Mask on or mask off. Then
half mask on, half mask off. Tell me which of those are conservative and which
off.
Yeah.
Anyone that doesn't have it fully on is probably conservative.
And what if I tell you 8 of those 10 are conservative?
Well, then.
That's again, we're judging by that outside appearance sort of deal.
Yeah. So I guess I'd say I can see why he would jump to that conclusion, but that's not a good conclusion or not a good assumption to make, because obviously that's not the case. There's a lot of people that I would imagine not getting a vaccine that have gotten a vaccine. And it's like, but at the same time, it's like, who cares? It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I'm not against anybody getting it or not.
Okay, so you're not going to be, because there are people out there nowadays who don't get the vaccine, and then they are getting upset that people with the vaccine are coming around them, saying that the vaccinated are shedding the vaccine on them. And I was like, are you serious, people?
Get over yourselves.
It's making those who don't want a vaccine sound even crazier than the people who do want a vaccine. And that's actually kind of hard to do.
I know, right. I say that is true, though. I didn't know that was a thing. But yeah, there shouldn't be that. I don't know. That's my big concern, is that now with this whole vaccine stuff, I mean, there's obviously going to be division, just more division amongst people about whether you're vaccinated or not. It's just a mess.
So yeah, that is true. That's just adding on to the compounding list of things that we divide ourselves amongst. Do we divide ourselves based on, first we divide ourselves based on race, then we divide ourselves based on wealth, then we divide ourselves based on, the clothing that we're wearing, and then based on the party that we vote for, and then based on are we vaccinated or not, and then based on do we like Fauci or not, and then based on do we like guns or not, and then based on this, and then based on this, and then based on this. Do you see where that list just continues to keep going on and on and on and on and on and on and on?
Yeah. Oh, very much so.
And it starts with, Johnson, you're wearing a hat with a gun on it.
I know. People aren't gonna like me. See, this is a thing, a funny thing, I guess. Though I thought that was kind of amusing to myself. You see these people on the news and stuff like that. You see the crazies on the news. Now I've gone to like these like open mic nights or whatever at some places. Mm-hmm. And this one place, and again, now this would be on me for making kind of more of that assumption, but I've been to this place that I would imagine is more left-leaning kind of as far as views wise goes. Mainly, the biggest thing that gives it away is there's an artwork piece in there that shows Trump holding, I'm imagining, a Bible, and then there's like two like security people to his side, and then in the background's like the Capitol or whatever, and it's burning down.
Okay.
I'm imagining they don't like Trump at that place. So with that being said, it's like I'd imagine most people that are there are probably left leaning. And then I show up one night, with this hat on, and I have a Harley Davidson shirt on, and I show up in my truck and stuff like that, and mm-hmm. It was funny because one of my friends was he's like, you just have like the attire of like, of like what some people would probably say you're just a jerk. But then you talk, and then if they ever talk to you, then it's like, oh, okay. But that's the thing is like, I guess like thankfully I have not been like singled out in a crowd and being accused of being some, I don't know, some monster of a person or a terrifying threat of a person. So you always see this stuff there are clip videos of people going berserk and nuts over stupid things. I'm just thankful I personally have not experienced that. So I just wonder like how common are these crazies? I suppose.
They seem to be a little more sensationalized in the news and like on YouTube videos that gain popularity, because it's something that you want to see. You always want to see train wrecks and disasters.
Yeah, that's why when reality TV is a thing.
Well, not only reality TV, but like you drive past a car accident, right? Oh, yeah. And you slow down to watch as, oh my goodness, that car is on fire, and oh, please tell me that's not a dog stuck in the back seat. Oh, you're like, you
want to find out what's going on.
You want to find out what's going on, right? And so that's why like fights and confrontations and all that are there, because like, oh yeah, give it to him, give it to him, punch, draw, So excitement. How often does it happen? Probably not as much as we think, but anytime it does happen, it blows up on YouTube or whatever, and it's always like, oh, they were racist, they were this, they were that, just like. Okay, if you were to wear that redneck getup into like a barbecue place in Detroit, it would probably not be the proper mix-up.
For sure.
Yeah. You might get some stares at you, but again, that's people judging you based on what's on the outside, based on appearance. They're not judging you based on who you are.
Yeah, and that's to me, that's not just to me. I know I'm not alone in that, but like waiting to see how that person treats others and act, then that's where more decisions can be made. Just as now granted, first impressions don't always, aren't something to like go by all the time, but gosh, I don't know. There's two people I had seen in this food store, and it was pretty irritating as they just seemed very like they deserved like the best treatment. They needed to be served right away. Mm-hmm. And one guy's eating his sandwich on a table, waiting for his other buddy to get one. And then once his other buddy finally gets one, oh, can I get this and this and this to go or whatever? Just very, I don't know. And like complaining about the soda machine not working or whatever and all this other stuff.
There's a reason why we have the term Karen out there nowadays.
Yeah. And it's just, I mean, one, I guess you're using it, you're getting your order to go, but then you decide to use a table to eat your sandwich at because you can't wait, whatever. And so then you're dirtying their table and just, I don't know. When you see people acting like that, that just annoys the crap out of me.
So what you're saying is you're judging them based on their actions, not what they're wearing?
Yes. It doesn't matter. And again, because, you know, I don't know if I had seen them just, I don't know. See, I didn't have the greatest, I guess, probably judgments of them at first, just seeing them either. But then seeing how they were acting, I was just like, oh, now I don't like it. But again, yeah, it doesn't matter on appearance as to, you know, what they might be like. It's on how they act towards others is where you make your judgment call.
Yeah. And that's all we as humans have to kind of make assessments by, because we can't see, you know, what's really going on, you know, inside of a person's heart, inside their mind.
No.
You know, and you see all that stuff all the time on various social media sites, like, oh, be nice to the root because maybe they're having a bad day.
Right.
Okay,
right.
I get it. We've all had bad days. We've all had bad days where, you know, maybe we're a little grouchy on stuff, or, you know, we quote unquote wake up on the wrong side of the bed and we're just grouchy from the moment we wake up for no apparent reason. You know, maybe it's because you're turning 26 today and you're like, I'm getting old.
This is over.
Life is over. My midlife crisis is here.
I'm already on my midlife crisis. What are you talking about?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. You're turning 26.
Yeah, well, I've been ahead of.
So, you know, in those cases, is like all we can see is that. And I always come back to it, you know, when, you know, you read the Bible and all that, and it says, thankfully, God judges us based on the inside, because he can see the heart, he can see the mind, he can see all that's going on. He can see kind of that whole big picture where we have like just the outer shell. We have that piece that is very much temporary. We have that piece that is very much in the moment, in the here, in the now, in the whatever is happening, you know.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Aaron is wearing his redneck clothes because he's in the process of buying new clothes for his job, to where he's going to be wearing a suit and tie all day. You know, or maybe he's out and about and this is his relaxation clothes because 12 to 18 hours of the day he's in a suit and tie. You know?
Yeah.
You know, and this is like his sweatshirt. And sweatpants.
Yes.
This is his sweatpants. Flannel. You know, and some people are just, you know, you see other people in flannel and you look at them and you're like, oh, that's like a woodworking person. See some people, that's a hunter. See some people, that's a redneck. They just give off that vibe and we kind of judge it real quick. But thankfully God says, no. I see who you are. I see the person. I see that, you know, you're struggling right now, but you're loving that, you know, and it can look into the heart and see us. Thankfully. Yeah. Because the image that we put up externally sometimes is horrible, especially if we're going through something bad. Because if we're going through something bad, like I talked about before with depression, that guess what? You're not caring. You're not getting, you know, you're not showering for days on end. You
can have that good old RBF. The resting face.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, that. I wasn't even thinking of that. I was thinking more like, you know, You're wearing the same clothes for 2 weeks on end without washing it, and it's a little crusty and a little hard and has little stink lines coming off of it.
It's got some hardened liquor in your clothes and stuff.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with liquor. So it had, you know, as I said, because, you know, let's say you came to my place and you saw me like that, you'd be like, oh, something's up.
Something ain't right.
In that case, the internal and the external match, but
true.
You know, but what if you come across someone and maybe they're just on a rough time where they can't afford to do whatever, you know, new clothes or whatever, and you're like, oh, that person's a scrub. They just wearing the junkiest junk, but at the same time, they're trying their hardest.
Yeah, you don't know that.
You also have people who wear suits day in and day out, but they're sleeping in their car because they can't afford an apartment.
Yeah.
You can put on a great appearance. You can put on the best show, and we will judge you all day on that, and our judgment could be wrong. It is easy nowadays of technology, especially like if you're on a Zoom call, to replace the background.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I still don't know how to do that.
Not a surprise. So we judge all that sort of stuff. And now the new trend that I saw on TikTok is you get your COVID vaccine tattooed on you. So you get the brand logo, so Pfizer or Moderna or Johnson & Johnson in the US, and then you get your lot number as well. And I was like, are you serious? People are really doing that. And then, of course, they also get the I survived COVID-19 tattoo as well. And I'm like, I see you. I am going to judge you. And you're not going to like the judgment. And this comes back to, we as temporal beings, people who exist in the here and now, can only judge on either the actions or what we see. Now, here's the thing. If you're getting a tattoo is very, for us as humans, as permanent essentially as you can get. It's unless you go through like laser treatment to get it lasered off, which I heard can be expensive and painful.
Yeah.
So unless you're doing that to get, or chopping off your arm, or whatever body part you got tattooed, it's pretty much permanent until you get a cover up or something like that. And some things that can be very inconspicuous, like technology. But other people, like maybe who joined the KKK, right? They get these Nazi symbols and all that tattooed on them. And that gives a very clear warning of who they are. Now, here's the problem. I may leave the IT industry at some point, okay?
Oh, but you still have your tattoo, though.
I still do, but guess what? I still know IT. I still am able to do technology. I would still be very much involved in things, right?
Right.
Someone leaves the KKK, guess what? Because let's say someone got to them and not got to them like took them out or anything. No, but like they actually had a conversation with someone else of a different race, and they said, "Hey, and they come to realize, wow, I'm dumb. These beliefs I had are bad." They could leave the KKK at that point, but they can leave, but they're still going to have
tattoos are with them.
that tattoo. So they're either going to have to get it covered up, lasered off, and let's
something,
something, and or always wear long sleeve or what, covering that body part, and let's say, I meet imaginary character X over here after they've left the KKK and I see these tattoos on them and I'm like, oh, geez Louise. Immediately I'm going to go, this isn't a guy I want to hang around with because we don't share, the same beliefs on things,
Right.
Obviously they're sharing some very hatred towards people. And then you get to talk to them maybe and it's like, wait, they no longer believe that. My initial impression was all wrong. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dang it. It's a good reminder to us that we can't always, that we need to be careful.
Yeah.
We need to be careful, on what we're identifying with based on the things that we wear and put on ourselves. But it's also a good thing to remind ourselves that we can't meet someone maybe for the first or second time and judge them fully on who they are as an identity based on what they're wearing or have on them either.
Right.
Because either things may be out of sync. When I mean out of sync, like maybe not longer be applicable, and maybe they haven't had a chance to get it removed or covered up or whatever, if it was like a tattoo or something like that. Or B, maybe they're wearing it ironic because that people do that.
Yeah, that is a thing.
Yeah, if you ever saw me wear In Fauci We Trust shirt, that would be a fully ironic shirt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And Mm-hmm. I'm just imagining it now.
I got one on the way for you.
Oh no! Can't wait to wear that at work.
I can't wait either. I'm kidding.
Oh, dang it. And just to be more, nitpicky or crazy about it, with the whole tattoo thing, no, I'd mentioned earlier, but it's going to be funny with that one clip you played, how that one guy was like comparing people's like vaccines to each other, and it's like one being good, some being mediocre, and then other ones just being trash. So it's just gonna be another stupid thing to have. I don't know, one, separate each other from, especially the ones that are getting tattooed on what vaccine they got. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why. I don't understand tattooed. I guess I could probably guess why some people.
Because right now the popular thing to do is to remember for a long time people were posting on Facebook and that their vaccine cards after they got their first or their second shot of the various COVID vaccines. Unless it was Johnson & Johnson. So that was a very popular thing for a while. So this is just kind of that next evolution of let me show you what I can do. And part of it again is the whole, well, if I'm one of the first few people to do it, I'm going to get a lot of views for being unique on TikTok or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or...
Thinking of okay, so yeah, there's a whole tattoos thingy or whatever.
Yeah.
And obviously they're still going to be wearing masks, whether or not they got the vaccine anyways.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of people saying they're going to wear masks well into 2022.
Well into 2020. Yeah, I'm not going to say part. But I do remember seeing something about it was just on the news. I wasn't really fully paying attention, but somebody from somewhere had said something about like they see masks being a forever thing. Like, oh, it's just gonna be a new normal.
Yeah, Fauci was saying something about that, where it could be a new normal with like the flu seasons and all that.
Okay, because I'm just like, no. At least personally for me.
And there are some people who like the mask thing because, and to be fair, a lot of these people are more introverted type people where they don't care if they have to interact with a kiosk or a person, you know. So and to be fair, me as an introvert, it has gone on too far. I need to see people's faces, because I am done with it.
Yeah. Well, I guess the other thing, I don't know if you saw the video of. What was it, a fourth grader from his school talking about this whole mask situation?
Oh, yeah, I definitely saw where it was a fourth grader talking about why the school should not be doing masks.
Yeah. And I guess the one thing that got to me about it, well, okay, I guess there was one where it's like, okay, well, the teacher, you know, take her mask off or whatever, whether it's yelling at the kids or whatever it be. But like when he saw his teacher out in public, and then she like, you know, her not recognizing him because he's always had a mask on. I was just like, I don't know. Like, it makes me a little sad on the inside. That I don't know what it is about it. It just made me a little sad. I was just like, yeah, well, we want to keep, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't foresee mandates coming back, but I have been wrong before. I guess the big test of this will be this fall when the flu season starts up. Do we put a mask mandate back in place for the flu season? If we do, then mask mandates are here to stay. Right. And then at that point, you might as well just get your own little personal bubble with your own personal air filter, and just live in for the rest of your life. Never touch a human being. I just gave Aaron his dream.
I mean,
that means no more mosh pits at August Burns Reds.
Okay, that kind of suck.
That means the drummer has to be in his own little bubble, so you hear the muted drums through it.
Right, yeah. Just very muffled. Well, I mean, you have microphones.
No more meet and greets.
Okay, I ain't about that life. No, I was just thinking of that one video of like the couple that like before the vaccine or whatever, they're kissing or whatever with the masks on, and then afterwards.
Well, and that's how they kissed throughout the entire COVID.
Whole COVID.
The whole COVID time they've been. Even though they're married, had only been kissing with masks on. And then once they felt free to finally kiss with the mask off after they got vaccinated. So I'm just like,
I don't know. I have a hard time. I don't care if you feel like you need to wear it or not. That's fine. You do you. I personally would rather not. I just feel like it's been such a huge political theater at this. Why? But
it's also the virtue signal, wearing a mask or not. It's the virtue to going like, I am a loving progressive. I love people by wearing my mask. And I want to show it to the world. I expect the next thing to happen.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't seen this yet. Is someone to get a mask tattoo on their face.
Oh, I suppose.
As a permanent symbol of their progressive activism in politics.
Don't tempt them now. Now this is out there now. Well, once this is out, it might happen.
I've already seen stuff like, who was it? Someone did the Edward Scissorhands tattoo, but with a mask on Edward Scissorhands. Yep. I've seen that. I've seen, temporary paint on masks that people have done to be like, look, I'm wearing a mask, but I haven't seen, thankfully,
tattooed
anyone do like a medical surgical mask yet. I've only seen the traditional and don't get me wrong, I don't understand why people would get those to begin with. I'm not I'm not a face neck tattoo person. I like tattoos, but I'm not a face neck tattoo person.
I do neck, but I wouldn't.
Part of me is I still want to be somewhat professional, like forearm and all that.
So
still
people
professional.
Aren't professional.
See again.
Again,
look at that. Judging a person based on. Okay, let me rephrase it. In corporate America, In corporate America, that is not considered a professional thing on the neck. On the arms and that, it is actually. And that's actually come a long way since that's where it used to be. There were times where you couldn't show any tattoos at all, and now it's, okay, you can have, forearm tattoos and that. Yeah. And I do have forearm tattoo. I'm thinking about getting another one soon. Sort of thing. But it's definitely not a look that I would go for personally. But I could see you doing that, especially if you had a bike.
Going all up. And I guess it's not like that I would just get a neck tattoo, but I could see like if I did something like up here, like being high enough.
Where's up here? Because people can't see.
Up on the shoulder.
Okay.
Collarbone-y area. Like if it is up that high, I can see something like peeking up onto the neck.
Like if it peeks up on. Yeah. That's one thing.
If it's just like a full-on neck.
Well, like if it's like the full-on side of a neck.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing. If it peeks up a little bit,
reaching up onto it a little bit here and there.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. My mom would freak. Of course, I get any new tattoo, my mom will freak.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how it looks. She will freak. We'll just put it that way. But
my only other concern now with the whole vaccine thing is I talked to you about, but HIPAA.
Yeah, what about HIPAA?
So it's not covered.
Oh, you're talking about that. Law. Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of people that keep going around and say, if you go into a store, HIPAA prevents them from asking, blah, blah, blah. That's not what it is. I know a lot of people, especially on the right, especially on the conservative side, really want to say, well, if I go into a store, I can say, well, HIPAA prevents you from asking. That's not what HIPAA does. HIPAA prevents, like as a medical professional, like if I was a doctor or whatever, from disclosing information about you. Yeah. So let's say, I'm a doctor, right? And I'm treating patient Jane over here. I can't call and I can't like talk with Aaron, my buddy, outside of work or inside of work and be like, so I have this patient, her name is Jane, and and tell you medical information about this person that could tie back to them. Now, if because if I give you any information that would allow you to go, oh, I know that person, especially if you know the person in real life, if you go, oh, they're talking about so-and-so, based on what I'm saying, that's breaking HIPAA, okay? That's medical personnel disclosing information, okay?
Yeah.
And that even applies, like when I worked at the hospital system, right? Let's say you were a patient at the hospital system. I couldn't look up information on your medical history, even though I worked for the hospital system, because I had no right and no reason to know that information. I was not involved in your care or treatment. I couldn't even look up my own records if I wanted to. What? That part I didn't agree with. Yes, I know. Me as a employee / patient of the medical system, I couldn't look up my own records because that would actually violate HIPAA. Because I know it's dumb. Weird. And that is one of the dumb parts of it. But what it really is doing is preventing doctors and medical personnel from disclosing information about patients. It has nothing to do with you voluntarily giving information to another person, and it's nothing to do about them asking for it.
Right.
So unfortunately, where people go, oh, it's HIPAA. No, it's not. Unfortunately, whoever is telling you that is telling you a lie, a falsehood. And unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, there's a lot of people in the Christian community who have used that as an excuse to either not mask up or deny things. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. This is a newer vaccine technology for the most part that some people are a little wary of and are like want to see the long-term effects before usage. And they want to figure out what it means for them, not just day 1, day 2, day 10, where, hey, it provides some immunity against COVID. They want to find out, what does this mean year 10 from now? Will their kids be able to have kids? That's worst case scenario, obviously. I'm not saying that this is a conspiracy theory to make all the kids sterile and so that the way the population will go down. We're already on that path anyways.
Yeah, right.
Okay. This is instead a talk about, is this going to cause a cancer going forward? Is this going to cause some gene mutation that was unintended, that it shouldn't have, but it did? Because let's be honest, things happen all the time that we don't intend to happen. They're like, that shouldn't happen, but yet it does.
Yeah.
It happens. So I can understand some of the hesitancy, but at the same time, I can also understand why people are like, I want to see everyone vaccinated, because they want to stop the pandemic. We've been living a year plus under this, and people are like, I'm done with this. I want this to be over. So I get both sides of it, and I get how we want to get over this, get this ended, but how do we balance that out, and how do we allow it to allow for everyone's individual freedoms and liberties to exist in a time when there's also a pandemic going, and government-wise so far has been pretty well like, oh, we're not going to overregulate this or anything like that. But at the same time, we have people going around, because I don't know if you remember this. CNN was like, where are all the Fox Host News vaccine selfies? This was a thing. This was a CNN segment where they were berating the host of Fox News channel for not posting on Instagram and Facebook their selfies of them getting their COVID vaccine.
Okay.
It's like, so you want me, the only way I can get your approval is to post a selfie of me getting a shot. No, that's not how this works.
Apparently it is.
And so, this goes back to, we're judging people based on what they're wearing, what their actions are. And in this case, their action is, did they or did they not post a photo of them getting jabbed in the arm with a needle to say, look, I am a vaccinated person. Now, where that person chose to get a vaccine or not, that is none of their business. Now, businesses legally can ask, hey, did you get your vaccine or not? And then if they want to, they can be like, there's some bar over in Michigan where they ask if you got your COVID vaccine or not. And if you did, they ask, if you did get your vaccine and you can prove it, then you don't have to wear a mask in the bar. But if you didn't, then they ask you to wear a mask until you have your drink, blah, 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 sort of deal, right?
Yep.
That's what they can do. And guess what? People can vote with their feet and their dollars. If they like that and they're fine with it, then they will continue going there. If they're not fine with it, they can go somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. Ugh.
But I get, our identity of who we are. We have to be aware that people are going to judge us based on what we wear and what we do, even though we may not like it. Because guess what? We do the same exact all the time. You shake your head no, but that is a lie.
Yeah, I know. I already gave an example of how I
did. You gave an example of how I did. I also know multiple times of when you've done it.
Kind of curious. Trying to think of those times.
So just be aware. And sometimes, and people go, oh, this episode's woke. I'm not saying woke. Don't go like, oh, they have a different color. I must treat them different and special. No, treat everyone equal.
Yeah.
Treat everyone with love, respect. With compassion, with respect. It's all this craziness going on right now in the world with, there's a lot of craziness. I can't identify just one piece of it, but especially around race and racism right now, that has really gone out of whack a little bit. And to be fair, on both sides. Not one side is innocent or guilty of the recent craziness going on with that. And again, a lot of that comes back to, we're judging people based on what they look like.
Yeah.
In this case, we're judging them based on an immutable characteristic of themselves. Do you know what immutable?
Something they can't. Wait, hold up. Characteristic.
Yeah.
Something they can't something you can't hide.
Right. Well, not hide. Yes, something you can't change.
Yeah.
It's immutable fact, Aaron Johnson, that you are born and you have very white skin. Okay.
Change that.
No,
it's there.
It's porcelain white at times, especially in the winter. Okay. It's a mutable fact that I have darker skin, especially now the sun's coming out. You could see the little watch band on my arm, but you could see where it's starting to get darker. And guess what? I don't spend much time outside. This was just a couple hours where it's starting to get the darkness. That's those Mexican genes kicking in, I'm sure if you were on your bike, you'd be darkest. But that's an immutable characteristic. That's not something I can change. That's part of my DNA. I was born male, part of my DNA. If I go bald or not by the time I'm 40, that's in my DNA. Yep. You could do stuff that kind of helps some of that. But naturally, if you're kind of going out on and about, that's,
right.
Various things are part of that, mutable characteristics. But a lot of that, what we wear is very mutable, very changeable, very manipulative even. We could use it to disguise ourselves and fit into a crowd because we think, oh, this is what that crowd likes to wear. I'm sure, Aaron, if you were going to, to an event of some sort with, let's say, bikers and all that, right? You wouldn't wear like khaki shorts and a golf polo and all that to the biker event.
Yeah, I don't know,
because you're going to want to fit something that kind of helps you fit in and jives with their identity that they have and that they have as a culture and a subculture.
That I don't get picked on and made fun of.
Exactly. You do it to fit in. But then on the way there, you run into a bunch of golf dads and they're like, "Hi, Aaron."
Oh, hey.
So again, mutable characteristic, a thing that can be manipulated and changed, and with it changes your identity. So be mindful of all that. Be mindful of who you're judging a person to be based on what they're wearing. Because again, we see what's on the outside. God sees what's on the inside. And oftentimes those things might not match. You know, just because you see someone walking down the street with a skull tattoo and a biker jacket and all that doesn't mean that they're a hell-bent hellion who's here to raise hell with guns and knives and murder and blow. Maybe they're a missionary on a mission trip, and because of your judging, you avoid someone who may be a very influential part of your life.